The eldest of 4 sons, he was athletic and independent-minded. On one Sunday, he felt flu-like symptoms. By Wednesday, he couldn't walk. And on Friday, he was enclosed in an iron lung as he was having trouble breathing. Ed had contracted the devastating disease of polio, and he was completely paralyzed. Visualize this: a 14-year-old boy, a runner, a basketball player, enclosed in a cylindrical steel drum, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with only his head and feet exposed. His doctor gave a grim prognosis that Ed would probably not live beyond the age of 40. Ed himself became deeply depressed. And he said, "This much is too much. I've had enough." Ed tried to kill himself by not eating. Then, when they discharged the last special duty nurse, Ed had a choice to make, the same sorts of choices that you and I have in our lives. And fortunately for the world, Ed chose to live. He went back to high school with the aid of a tutor and electronic connection to his classrooms. He graduated in 3 years. It did take an appeal to the school board, however, because Ed hadn't finished his physical education credits. It was going to be too tough to get that wheelchair in the showers. And he didn't have a driver's license. There are some parents here tonight that are going to say how fortunate he did not have a driver's license. There's more than one hero to this story. Ed attended UC San Mateo, and his mother manually pushed his wheelchair to every class for 3 solid years. Ed excelled in political science, and his professors encouraged him to apply to UC Berkeley, as they had a tremendous political science department. Upon enrolling in UC Berkeley as the first severely handicapped student in their history, the headlines read, "Helpless cripple goes to school." It's a strong possibility that that headline, "Helpless cripple goes to school," was the igniter to launch the quest for America to become politically correct. There's widespread appeal in this news article, and other quadriplegics followed Ed to UC Berkeley. Calling themselves the Rolling Quads, they formed the independent living movement. Ed, as its natural leader, was an igniter for the cause of the independent living movement, asking for curb cuts and sidewalks and easier accessibility to the campus buildings. You see, there was always a need. It just needed somebody to ignite that flame. Ed graduated with a master's degree in political science. His first paid job was to advise on the removal of the architectural barriers to the disabled on the UC Berkeley campus. Today, because of that work, UC Berkeley has one of the most accessible campuses in the world. He was then appointed by Governor Jerry Brown to an 8-year term as the director of the Department of Rehabilitation. Under his command, the agency became a strong advocate for the 40,000 disabled Californians. Then he founded and became director of the World Institute of Disability. After all of this, his education degree, Director of the Department of Rehabilitation, Director of the World Institute on Disability, Ed found himself on public assistance. Everyone's probably heard of the prestigious MacArthur Fellowship. Well, Ed got a grant for over $220,000 to further his work. And he told the reporter, he said, at the time I got the fellowship grant, I was completely broke. But what I've learned is that life is cyclical. And before there's a victory, there's invariably a period of suffering. Ed died at the age of 56, and the week that he died, the World Health Organization announced that they had vaccinated over 450 million children in 80 countries against the ravages of polio. Ed came to that Y in the road, and he chose to live. I challenge you tonight, just one choice to ignite a flaming ember of your health, a relationship, your career, your life. And like Ed Roberts did, act upon it.